All right. So let's move on to shot 6. Shot 6 is when the case comes in here. And we can probably use part of this. Probably not her hugging it and smiling. But right here seems good. So right as this comes into frame, let's hit I for in. And so we're really kind of cheating this distance here because there's no way that he kicked this. Obviously, he didn't kick this hard enough to go all the way to her. It's like 15 feet. And really, we probably should have shot this a little differently. There's not like a lot of ways to fix this in post, but we're just going to do the best we can because honestly, this is a practical training. This is what happens in the real world. You have problems like this and you just kind of have to be okay with it, you know? So shot 6, let's grab that, put that in here. And we'll do some creative cutting to make sure that it looks like this actually shows up here. And funny story, actually, to make this hit the mark, what we did was we had this on a couple of 2x4s because we needed this to be higher anyway, just because of the camera angle. And so we had this stacked on some 2x4s and we had somebody slide the 2x4s in and hit a specific mark so that this showed up in the foreground and we saw her in the background. It's not the most realistic thing, but I like it. It's kind of fun. So now we have a shot of her trying to grab the case and it falling open, which of course makes the sound that alerts our bad guy and gets him shooting at her. So we have 2 takes of this. Let's just look at the second take. And that looks like it's probably going to work fine. And the second part right here, we'll have this right as it starts to fall open. And then she scrambles to put it away, grabs this and goes. All right. Let's put that down. We'll see how that works here in a minute. And now we have the shot of her grabbing the case, which we do have some foreground elements. What this actually was shot as is the POV of the other girl, where she looks over and sees herself. But we didn't really end up shooting a shot that is like this, but without the foreground stuff. So we kind of just have to use it here. We do have one that's a little bit closer that might be better to use. So you can kind of take your pick there. I think I'm going to use the closer one actually. So we need her to grab that case and kind of mess with it and take it out of frame. Okay, that's what's going to happen next. So now this plays roughly like she sees the case and she reaches for it. And probably what we'll do is we'll have this one. So she reaches for the case. Right as she is about to hit it, maybe we'll cut there. So now these will cut together. And then maybe she goes, oh no. And we'll have the case fly open. It kind of flops twice. Like, let's have the last flop. So she scrambles to put it away. And then we can cut to this other shot here. So we'll have her just starting to put it away like that. Good. So now this kind of works as a little story, right? So she sees the case, she reaches for it, it falls open, she goes, oh no, stuffs it back in, and takes it out. All right, scene 4, shot 9A. So this is another split shot, right? So because she's back here being dead, we need her there, and then we're going to shoot another layer here. So we have shot 9A, we have several takes of this. So again, just for the sake of time, let's try take 6. Oh, this is labeled wrong. These should actually be 9B. So let's take a second and fix those. Let's select both of these. I did this on purpose to test you. So over here in our inspector, under file, we can change our scene and our shot. This is shot 9B. 9B. All of these 3 shots, take 4, 5, and 6, are actually 9B. There we go. And the takes, let's rename the takes as well. Take 1, take 2, and take 3. Great. Crisis averted. So good. So let's take a look at 9A take 3. See what's happening here. I think we'll take the last take. Let's start right about here. I'll hit I for in. And let him walk forward. And we'll pause right there. I'll hit an O for out. We'll drag this down. Now, again, this is colored orange because for whatever reason, the audio wouldn't sync. And so if we are going to need the audio later, if we feel like that's important, we'll have to sync that up manually. In fact, let's just do that right now. Scene 4, 9A, take 3. Let's find that in our audio. Let's open our audio thing. But with the audio, we have to look at this in details mode here. And in details mode, we can right click and scroll down to shot and scene and take. And we can really kind of get rid of the rest of these for now, just so we have a little bit of room. And the cool thing is that up at the top, we can say create column layout. We'll call this shot, scene, take, and hit OK. And that'll let us, if we right click here, and if we have a bunch of other things on here like normal, we don't have to go through this manually each time. We just right click and say shot, scene, take, load. Very nice. So to match this up, we are looking for shot 9 from scene 4, take 3. So if it's shot, scene, take, it should be 9, 4, 3. Scroll down to 9, 4, 3 right here. That's what we want. We also got to remember that some of these were logged as 9A, but they should really be 9B. So 18, 19, and 20 should be 9B. Let's go over and change that real quick before we forget. 9B, yay. And this 9A, 4, 3, we'll drag this in to our timeline, close our media pool, and we'll do a little bit of manual syncing here. What I'll do, just so we can remember the beginning of our clip, is I'll hit up on the keyboard and select this clip and hit M, and that will add a marker just to the clip so that we always know when the in is. And then we'll move this over until we have our slate right here. So let's find the slate in our audio. I'll turn our audio on. I think that slate's right there. Yep. And we'll do the same thing right here. Zoom it in and we'll sync it up. Now, if the audio waveforms won't quite sync like this, you can just get it close. And then if you drag the audio, you can drag the audio with a much finer precision than the video. So if you just drag the audio, line it up like that, this should be great. And if we listen to it, there shouldn't be any echo. Okay, so now that these are synced, so there's our good audio. Link clips, all right. So now we have the good audio here. If I boost this up, maybe it'll be a little easier to hear. I'm not sure if we're going to use that audio or not, but it's nice, clean audio. It'll give us a good base to work off of later. Okay, so now let's go back to our video here in the media pool, and we're gonna look for shot 9B, which is going to be the other side. By the way, if you have trouble bringing up the clip here in the source viewer, if you close your inspector, that will let you have two viewers, the source viewer and the timeline viewer. Resolve kind of fights for space, for screen space, and so it's pretty picky about what panel it shows you at what time. All right, so shot 9B, take 3, that's probably what we're gonna want. Let's see where we're at. All right. During this time, there's kind of a gunfight. Then he walks up to try and get Sarah. And we're just going to use probably this part of his walk but this is to establish that he's coming over to shoot her and she doesn't really know what to do. So we have her lifting the box above her head, and that might be a problem with continuity later because I'm not sure if she has the box on her other shots. So shot 14, this is the close-up of this. So she's pretty much just waiting, not really knowing what to do, kind of freaking out. So that's going to cut with this. So ideally, it would be good to have a take where she doesn't have the box on top of her head, even though that is kind of funny. So let's see, maybe... All right, we might be able to use like the beginning of that. Let's just try that. So I'll hit O for out. At the end of this, I'll come up right after she shoots here because we are going to have a different shot of her shooting, I think. Okay, let's try that. We'll grab the audio and the video and bring this in. And again, we're going to take this top clip, open our inspector under video, and crop the left. And that's going to let us see both of these sides here. And we're going to soften it. Again, so this is what we're doing. You can turn off that bottom clip just by selecting it and hitting D. We can soften that transition a lot. Let's see how that looks. So now we have her coming back, but there's a problem because this split isn't quite in the right place. So when she's over here, we want to make sure that it's not cutting her off and that it's not going to cut him off. So it needs to be less soft. So it's not cutting him off and it's not cutting her off, right in between those two. The good thing is she comes this way really quick and he doesn't quite cross that line for quite a while. So if we really need to, we could even keyframe that split to where it doesn't cut him off ever. But for now, let's just leave it like this. Boom. It's possible we might only use just a small part of this shot. But let's trim this to the top here. And again, we're building a rough, so we're going to have to figure out kind of how this works here in a little bit in the context of the edit. Right now, it doesn't quite work, but we'll figure it out. Once we add the other shots, we can kind of move them around and solve some problems here. Let's look at shot 10 through 11. So this is her moving from one side to the other, which is really good because that's what's kind of in between this. So she starts at her first hiding place here, and then she moves towards the door. And the idea here is that he is shooting so much that she's afraid to go to the door because she's going to get shot. And so she comes back to hide right here. And I think that works pretty well. Let's take a look at the second take. Goes here, bam, bam. Oh no. Okay, I'd say that works pretty well. Let's grab that and put that down in the timeline. But I think I like the first take actually. Let's try that. Boom, boom. She looks like she's in a lot more control here, which could be good or bad. I don't know. Close the inspector so we can grab this and say insert. And that's going to put that right where my playhead is. And we'll just leave ourselves a couple options here. Okay. Let's just keep going and building the shots because we're going to have to mess with them, intercut in between them and stuff. Shot 12 is over the shoulder of him shooting at her. And let's say, I think we're probably going to want take 2. So this is her shooting back. So right here, what we're looking for is her to shoot at him. And remember, she's not very confident with guns. So she needs to look like she doesn't really know what she's doing. So she shoots twice there. What about once? Is there a time where she just shoots once? Okay, she kind of messes that up. Let's take a look at take 1. Fake guns are always fun. Okay. It just looks really strange. We have to find the take that I think works the best. So from take 1 at about 240 or so, kind of towards the end, I think is probably our best take. So that's the one I'm going to use. They're all pretty similar. If you like one a little different, you can use that one. All right, let's go with shot 13. So this is him turning from the dead body and turning to our main lady and kind of walking forward and shooting. Again, probably want the last take most of the time. All right, I think that's going to work pretty well. So we're going to start with take 3. And we'll just use that first part. And then I think I'll also grab this last part because if they're going to have a little gunfight, she's going to be shooting back and he's going to be kind of dodging and stuff. He's just like shooting 100 times. That might not be what we want. I might even want him kind of putting the gun down and kind of looking sure of himself. Maybe we'll use that. So we're basically just trying to give ourselves a bunch of options. When you have a complicated scene here where there's somebody running around and there's multiple different shots and you have a lot of angles, there's a lot to play with. So we're just giving ourselves options right now to play with. If we look at our storyboard, what's supposed to happen is she runs towards the door, and then she goes and hides, and he's behind her. And then she shoots at him, and then he shoots back, and then she runs out of ammo. So far we have her coming back to hide. She's shooting, he shoots back. Next is she should be running out of ammo. So let's say 4 shot 14. Should be this one right here. So it's her kind of turning back around. Oh, geez, out of ammo. Oh, no. He's shooting and there's stuff falling. And it's awful. All right, so let's put that there. And now let's move on to shot 15.